Desert Island Discs.
Welcome back to a second edition of this conversation, life story sharing between the incredible Rhoda Kalema and us on the program. She shared with us a bit of it last week. She returns this week to conclude it. But even though we know that her life story continues and the inspiration and wisdom and wealth of knowledge continues to flow endlessly from her. So tonight, let's brace ourselves for the continuation of last week's conversation around her life story. A life story punctuated with everything that you can imagine life comes with. The highs, the lows, and the in-betweens. Enjoy. You have watched the country transform. You went to school during the protectorate government. You saw independence. You saw the first governments up until today, and you have seen the different political tides take shape. 1966 comes to mind, for example. The 1970s with Idi Amin comes to mind. Then we know that 79 to about 85, there's all these many changes of government. We have Binayisa, we have Godfrey Binayisa, president. Then you've got Yusuf Ulure. Then you've got the military commission. Then you've got the return of Obote. Then you've got the Tito Kyolo Lutwa regime, and then President Museveni. In these political happenings, what was your level of consciousness in terms of your desire to participate in them, if at all? And if you did, how much did you participate in the political goings on?
Well, I witnessed all that, after the changes, and I wish to participate to see if I could all the time bring a better change. Particularly since I mean abolish the constitution, I thought we needed, my country needed a better atmosphere. We needed a better country for the future of our children, for the future of the country. My constitutional copy is there. I have it there. And for that also, when time came, I decided to take part in the constitution, in making the constitution. Because the constitution was, once it was abolished, and there was no parliament, that was real chaos. So when an opportunity came, one after another, the liberators came, then the NRF came. I wanted to take part, basically, to cut the story short, to see if the country can be better than it was
before,
previously. Of course, there's development. A child of 4 years cannot fit, a child of 10 years, 50, 12 years cannot fit in a dress she wore when she was 7.
Certainly.
So there's that appreciation that things change. Things change. Now it is for instance, my daughters who translate for me, and my girls here translate for me, help me with my WhatsApp messages. And during our time, there was no. By the time my telephone was special. A telephone. I remember when I was in S6, in our final year at Budo, being that we were trained to work on commercial section, commercial atmosphere. I remember we were taken our class. We are taken to the post office to telephone, telephone. Each one of us took a turn to see how we can telephone and got a message on telephone.
Wow.
In 1947. Can you imagine? But now you see a child of...
Everyone is walking around.
A child of 4 years playing with a smartphone. So I brought that reason, excuse, to show you that what we are asking, whatever changes came, I wanted, they were once they started to get worse than they were before, I wanted to take part to see if I can make it better. Particularly when after losing my husband, can this happen really? I might have just disappear like a mouse in the grass. Can a Chief Justice be picked from his chambers during the day? Chief Justice, I think today there's a remembrance of him. I don't want to talk about that one. It is so sad. Be picked up from his office. Then Chief Justice.
Or even the Archbishop.
And
just died.
Then the Archbishop. Then the Chief. Then Vice Chancellor of Makerere. Then Chairman. Then Governor Bank of Uganda. All that seemed, no, this should not happen again. If I can play a part, let me go into it. That's how I ended up being a part of the National Consultative Council, and later on National Resistance Council, and finally member of the Constituent Assembly.
Right over there, as they say in Uganda, Simba Wakati. I would want to take you back, and just for you to recount, if you please, take you back to again that tragedy that befell you as an individual.
Yes.
Young, married woman, and your husband disappears.
Yes.
Take us back then. Had you seen any telltale signs? Had he told you of a worry or fear around his life?
A what?
A worry? Did he fear for his life? What were some of the last moments you had with him, the best of your recollection?
Well, it was natural. Someone gave him a rumor that he was sending his money outside, and that is the state research people, so that he was sending money outside, and possibly, which he didn't. So I can never tell when, but because, by the way, all those who are in Obote's government, they call it Obote's government, the first government. For me, I call it the first government after independence. Those who did not run away, except one Skalese Tara, somehow lived silently somewhere in Mukono district. But most of them ran away quickly. Those who did not run away, like Ojera, William Kalema, Wakoli, and those were planned to be murdered. They were murdered. So he decided to stay, to come back and to stay for his family. But I can never tell why exactly pinpoint to anything.
You had a chance probably to say, you know what, for your safety, run away. Was he not welcoming the idea just for his safety?
Run away to where with my children? I had to trust in God. By the way, my trust has been always in God. You can see that is Psalm 23.
The Lord is my shepherd.
My shepherd, I shall not want. So that has been my anchor, trusting in God and being part of my church. That was, and my Bibles, you see how those of
different versions of the Bible.
There's some more there. So that is it. Running away wouldn't help.
Let's go to the National Consultative Council, which is a National Resistance Council, NRC. Had you ever met President Museveni and his group of people before they came to government?
I didn't.
What was your first meeting with them like? How were you introduced to the politics?
I didn't. I think I first met him in the NRC when the Liberation Front the Liberation Front took over from Chester Minaway. And it was an NECC, which I joined. And later on, and then I joined NECC, National Consultative Council, where the liberators had Chester were me. I didn't know him before. But finally, I was with him in the UPM later on after in 1980.
You know, this is a story about your life, and wouldn't want to go political, but I mean, there is no you without a bit of, you know, tinge of politics. Why, of all the available parties at the moment,
Available what?
parties, political parties at the time, did you choose to belong to UPM, which was really small and not very significant in the grand scheme of things, as people argue?
As a matter of fact, didn't want just to join a party. We had a mission in the UPM, Uganda Patriotic Movement. We wanted a party which can be patriotic, to see if we can avoid what has happened with Amin's regime. This was a new party started in 1980. I didn't join. I was a part of those who started it. See whether we can create patriotism among the people, the ordinary people, and many those who want to be leaders, to have a patriotic mind and spirit, to love their country. There is a saying which I will not tell you the man who said it right now, but I have it somewhere, that to be patriotic, if to love my country must be lovely. So we thought, let the people have a lovely country, then they will be patriotic. That was I can't remember which of us, which person decided on that title. Bidandi Sari, fortunately he's still alive, is among them. Late Kirunda Kivejinja. Other names I cannot easily call now, but I have them in my book. So we decided together with Museveni for patriotic, to see how we can create patriotism among the people until later on political parties can be revived. Originally, UPC and DP were there right from the beginning.
Yes.
When we went into independence, and in fact, people of DP and UPC went to London and other regions, Buganda, Busoga, Ankole, to negotiate the new constitution. DP and UPC were there.
Wow.
But we thought maybe after Amin has dismantled the country to this extent, let us first be one in the Uganda Patriotic Movement, and then we can later on change into parties. That was our idea. I'm just telling you my idea. Whether it was right at the right time, perhaps it wasn't. Perhaps whether it was right, depends on someone's opinion.
Just one last question around that area, and I'm going to use a figure of conversation. I, Simon, was born in the year you formed that party.
In the year?
That you formed UPM.
1980?
Yes.
Wow, you're a baby.
Today, I am an adult male with children. If my parents looked at me now, I believe they would be proud of what they bequeathed the earth. When you look at your party and the changes it's gone through to date, are you proud of what you created?
That I'm proud of what we created?
Yes.
Well, if there had been enough steadiness I cannot be here to, if there had been enough steadiness, it would be good. It would have been good. But perhaps if the political parties first of all be united, and then you say let us go back to the police. People choose people join not because they have a belief, because after all, if each party believes in stability and happiness and economic development for everybody, that is, then what else divides you? And human rights, then what else divides you? Every party would like security, would like human rights, and if because I suppose let for instance in England, in other countries where they have democratic, let it be democratic political parties, real democracy, which I wish for I'm a DP, but I wish the UPC to have exactly all the amenities I have. I'm the governor of the country, but I wish all the other parties to have the same benefits that my party, DP or UPC or NRM has. There'll be no problem. But my idea is the same as yours.
Let's get down to your own life story. Going into the constitution making process. It obviously began with a campaign.
Yes.
And campaigns, well, you would possibly tell me, what was the campaign like then? Was it rigorous in terms of the need to inject in money and other resources?
No money. For me, I wanted to go to be part of making the constitution. A constitution that will last, to help everybody. Because I had the 1962 constitution, I knew what it's all about. So I wanted to go back to the same constitution, or the original constitution, which would bring peace to everybody. That was my main reason. Not to elect me personally, but to elect me, and these are my issues. This is people were already very young, because the constitution 1990s, 1993, 94. You see, and the original constitution was made in 1960, drafted and worked on by the British as they were handing over to us. But our groups from Uganda, from the country, went there, and originally they came back. Even the British, the World Committee, came here and got ideas and views from people. So we also wanted to get views from the current people of 1990s, because they were not here in 1960s. 59. They were not here in 1959 and 1961. But now they are here in 1990s. And what are their views? What are their views?
Wow.
So I wanted to, for me, I had the idea of a constitution. Unfortunately, they gave us an opportunity, each one of the candidates or participants, to say why they've come to the constitution. You'll see it in my book when you buy it.
Incredible. But after the constitution making process, you opted not to continue in elective politics. Why? Why did you choose to step aside?
I wanted to rest. I wanted to take care of my family. And I thought I wasn't working for myself to be in the constitution, to be in the parliament all the time. I wanted other people to take over, provided they will stick to the constitution. I wasn't going to be there all the time. I had been in the NCC, I've been in the NRC, and I've been in the CA. Now my family needed me, and I knew I could still continue to help the country in Kiboga and the women's organizations. And I continued up to this day.
There's community schools you have built.
Yes.
Some, in fact, taken up by government.
I have also tried to get schools built.
You've gotten bursaries for some of the most disadvantaged students. Bursaries and opportunities
yes.
for school. You have created a mindset shift, especially amongst the women in Chiboga and across the country, that they can't be just that which their male counterparts are. When you look back at your life, what do you look back into and feel the most satisfaction from what you have done? Where do you draw your most satisfaction?
My satisfaction is that people are more aware. People are aware that the country is in their hands. They are in their hands. They can choose who can lead them. They can choose who can be with them. They can choose what to do for themselves and their country. They can decide what is right and what is not right. I mean, as members, as Ugandans, it's difficult to tell because there's a lot of unhappiness, a lot of poverty, a lot of illness now with this COVID coming, which came to invade us. So that question is not so easy. Now you wouldn't be able to say to yourself. So a country is not what I cannot be satisfied. What's happening in Bukedi? What's happening in Buru? What's happening in? I need to take the whole country, but I'm not in power, and I'm not in power, and I'm not working together. However, I'm not in power, and I don't have authority, and have an official authority to say anything. However, now you're asking that, I can tell you that there's things that feel must be rectified soon, quickly. This selling girls outside the Arab countries, they call it getting them employment. Employment should be found here. Technical constitutes should be here in the country. And by now, all those who are going abroad would be staying in this country, and there would be a lot. The technical institute would have already produced many young men and women who can occupy the industries which the government is telling us they want to create, instead of taking them abroad. That is slave trade. Mr. Simon, I'm telling you, what I'm saying is what I believe. Because you cannot have a company which doesn't have profit. And they said clearly, loudly, some companies have been stopped, some companies have been allowed. A company, you can't make a company without making profit. Whether you are selling groundnuts or selling that is a company too. Once it is a company, it's a company that gives service, but a company that makes profit. Now, whom do you give service? You give service of our young girls to go and be nannies, to be house girls, young boys, to be the young men, to go there to be guards, to be sweepers. Can I say I am helping my country to go there and live and give them jobs? But we have seen the worst. We have seen coffins coming back from the airport, haven't we? We have known. I have lots of reports from the papers, from Vision and Monitor, where they give stories atrocious stories which really make you really weep. So what I would like to see, what I would like is to see that we cannot create what I would like done, human rights, for the country to have, to create technical institutions where children can go. By the way, in 2011, I said my would-be manifesto. I called it one.
Your would-be manifesto.
You can find it in the monitor. I have a copy. Monitor can ask you. I think it was. I did write it in the monitor, and among my manifesto was technical institutes. That would be my manifesto if I were to be a president, or I have to aspire to be president, or company, or have a party. My would-be manifesto. Among other things, that was one of them. Technical institutes. You could start with one in the east, one in the west, one in the north, and central. In fact, just yesterday or 2 days ago, I think it is on Saturday, Busoga is starting a technical institute, Polytechnic Institute, the same thing. I was so excited. I said, all this long, and Busoga has had many graduates and many members of parliament for a long time. And I tell you, poverty, so much poverty in Busoga. It has taken long, but let it be effected. Okay. I said, well, it's taking long, but now let it be not just a wish.
Wow.
But let it be effected. Let it be effective. So actually, I must tell you, one thing I don't like, that pains me, is taking our young people outside, and we are left with those who can say, let us be here. What to do? I think it is government must step in as soon as possible to stop the companies, all the companies, not only a few. A few, when they say these companies should stop, these companies should stop. They have rescued so many girls from a house. That won't work.
True.
Let the government come and say, no more companies to slave trade, to trade in our girls. It is slave trade.
That's what it is.
You took history. Slave trade. Now I remember my little history of William Wilberforce, who fought. Yes, I know that. And in fact, my husband is William Wilberforce. He's William Wilberforce Kalema.
Wow.
That is his name. So that is it.
Now you're into retirement, but still very vibrant in terms of your writing and mentorship. But just before you tell us about how you spend your day now, one question still intrigues me, and maybe my listeners. Like we say, you are born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You are a daughter.
Pardon?
You are born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You are a daughter of a katikiro. In as much as he was modest not to allow you think that you're a daughter of a katikiro, but a daughter of Martin Luther. What's your relationship now with the Kabaka of Buganda? Looks to be a very nice and cordial and amiable relationship.
Kabaka of Buganda, I have a very good relationship with him. As a matter of fact, you must have seen. Did you see a picture?
Yes, I've seen pictures of
when you visited us.
Had lunch at your house in Chiboga sometime.
Kabaka of Buganda is the son of my schoolmate at Budo. To start with. So we have very good relationship. And with the role of the Buganda kingdom, where my father took a leading role in sustaining Buganda. In fact, he was a regent of his father. Did you see that picture?
Yes, I saw the picture.
He's a regent of his father. So I'm part and parcel of the Buganda kingdom. I cannot say more about that because it is just obvious. I'm part and parcel of the.
Right here.
Yes, he was 15.
Sir Edward.
Sekabaka Mutesa was 15.
Sekabaka Mutesa, yes.
And this side,
the
Mwanika, and my father, Katikiro, they were regents, guardians, but in the language there, it's called regents. He was crowned as Kabaka after he was 18. When he was 17, he was 15. His father had just died about a year, and he was only 15, so he was under regents' guidance.
Like how his father...
And the regents, more or less, were ruling, but he also had his role and ruling on his behalf, as it were, until he was 18. Then he was crowned.
Wow. Typical retirement at 92. You're a judge, great grand judge as well.
Many things.
You are everything, mentor.
I have many grandchildren. This is a grandchild.
Wow.
But not blood grandchild.
I imagine. People come in here to drink from your cup of wisdom and knowledge. What's your typical day like?
I wake up, and my girl, whom I didn't find here, she's gone to hospital. I have several. I have two main girls to take care of me. And she massages me, my knees, my pains, and then I have my breakfast. I sit there because there is some fresh air and the network. And I work on many things which I can't tell you. I get calls and I make calls. All over my family, my Chiwaga home, here and there. But I never have a dull day.
I can imagine.
And then I need a rest. And then I normally go for checkup at the hospital. So that's how I spend my day.
What do you have for breakfast?
Pardon?
What do you normally have for breakfast?
To drink?
What do you have for breakfast?
Oh, a boiled egg or a fried egg, but nowadays I don't like oil. A fruit, a boiled egg. Nowadays I don't like bread much. I used to take brown bread, but even now it doesn't taste to me. And a cup of tea. Sometimes I used to take some oats porridge. But I'm not keen on it now. It's very light breakfast. And I take my walk. Sometimes I take a walk in the garden so that I don't just sit in one place all day.
What's your favorite dish now? What's your favorite meal?
Matoke, greens, sometimes with groundnut sauce, and chicken.
Wow. And your favorite drink?
Passion fruit and melon juice. I used to like pineapple juice, but I'm advised by doctor that it has citric. It is citric. Can bring acid in my tummy.
What now gives you a good laugh?
A good laugh?
Yeah.
To know that I'm loved by God, that helps me. To thank God for His love for me. And to read and read and read. There I have books of other authors. Miriam Matembe is there. I have several books. What gives, by the way,
I see Honorable Matthew Chikere's book
yeah,
there.
Nichikaire is there. Reading and talking to my friends, people calling in to say, Jaja, we love you so much. We love you. Some of my grandchildren of my brothers, they call from everywhere. They call from sometime America. We love you very much. And that is so
That keeps
consoling.
you going.
Mm.
But the flip side, what gives you a heavy heart sometimes?
Wow. I've told you, selling out young people and killing and battering people. Battering people and killing people by fellow Ugandans, by a husband cutting off the head of his wife. Can it happen? Is it correct? Children against their parents because for love of money. And the corruption in the country. Now, it was clear in the papers yesterday. The corruption is so high in the country. And when people are so poor.
You've lived in this house from the time your husband was.
Pardon?
You've lived in this house from the time your husband was.
No, I used to live in Nakasero. That's where, by the time he died, we were living there in Nakasero. But when it was a bigger house. But when it became so empty for me alone, children, even the youngest, had got married. However, actually she had not even got married, but she was still studying. Even that one. She was the youngest, and she was only 2 years when her father died. Now got married in 2001. So the house was so empty.
Emptiness.
And I came here. I came to live here in 1982.
82.
Which is also a family home on my mother's side. All these are family homes. It's for, it says the family house. It's a family estate.
1982.
I came here in 1982.
Wow.
But I'm never alone. I'm never alone. I'm never lonely.
I love that. You're never alone.
I'm never alone, and I'm never lonely.
You launched this book over the weekend.
Hey, at the weekend, yeah, on Friday.
Flipping through the pages is a walk down memory lane. This is your memoir of your life. Can we also say that, time and space allowing, you may be writing on another issue, perhaps on a specific issue, and share your thoughts in another book?
I don't have the time to do that. All I want, by the way, which you have not asked, I'm trying to complete, to see that the person I lectured Makerere, and he's the fourth person I have been asking, and the others tried and stopped it. I gave them the material, I gave them all what is necessary. I'm trying to write a biography of my husband. I want it to be done while I'm still alive. I pray that God will give me the life.
Wow.
His biography, a lot of the information has been given to a person who is trying to help me by finish it. He's been sick, had a heart problem, and he's trying his best to see that it is done. We can have it done within the next, say, 4-6 months. That is I'm trying to see that I write his biography, because he did a lot more. His history is very, very significant. His life is very significant. So a bit of it is there in that book, but I'm trying to write his book, not on another topic. What topic? What topic do you have in mind?
I wouldn't want to prescribe any for you, but we'll be glad to read from you.
The topic would be on the slavery of girls from Uganda. What is what is there? However, what is most of the topics in the Vision and Monitor, which I buy daily, it goes back to politics. Goes back to politics. And I don't want to. Everybody, whatever you know is what I am. Whatever he sees is what you see. So I wouldn't like to indulge in that. So I don't have even the energy and the mind and the energy. Whatever I would like to say, I've said it there.
Well, as I conclude, you have been, even in your later years as an elderly stateswoman, you have offered counsel and you've been listened to by the powers that be. When was the last time you had a conversation with President Museveni, one-on-one?
I have not had much conversation with President Museveni. I didn't have any need to have a conversation with him. All I know, and that picture is not here. Whenever he comes to Kivoga, I go there. I go to a meeting. But a conversation just for the sake of it, for the sake of even anybody else, not a conversation. I've not had a conversation with him, a kind of a conversation. It's him who would ask me to go and have a conversation with him. I don't go for conversation with anybody just for the sake of it. It must be necessary and friendly. If people come here to visit me, bring me gifts, bring me flowers, have a conversation with them.
True. Honorable.
But I'm not his enemy. He's not my enemy. Okay. There's no conversation just for the sake of conversation with leaders. And even some of these members of parliament, I call them, Chamuju and Isegona, to point out to them some issues which I would like them to present, but not just a conversation. But head of the executive, what conversation can I have with him?
Interesting.
He's far above me.
You're being too modest. Honorable Rhoda Kalema, it's been a pleasure for you to take time off your schedule and speak to us. I know. We say thank you. Tukwebaza nnyo for this great insight into your life. And we believe that your life story will continue to inspire so many as it has done in the past. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Desert Island Discs.
The first time a gunshot to kill someone, and that someone, not my father, but a Katichiro. It was and shooting him at the church, at the entrance of the church. It was very dramatic. So the rest is history, but it was really dramatic, very sad.
Desert Island Discs.